Ever been there? You are cruising along in Excel, building a brilliant spreadsheet, and then a cryptic error code pops up, pulling you back, completely drilling your work, hash value, hash div, hash NA. They can feel like a secret language designed to drive you crazy. In today's video, we are not just going to log these errors, we are going to expose their common causes and arm you with ultimate strategies to fix them, not only for now, but forever. So let's jump into work. So the first error here is hash NA. Hash NA is not available, and it means that Excel couldn't find the value you are searching for. For example, if you are using a VLOOKUP to get the result of this product code, you need the price per unit in this column, and you have here a product code. If we try to type equal VLOOKUP and then select the value we are searching for, then comma, selecting the table array, and then comma, then we will type the column index number, which is 5, because we need the price per unit. Then comma, we'll type 0 for exact match and close our bracket, pressing enter, that the error will appear for us. It's NA, which means that there is no product code 130 that we are searching for right now. If we refer back to our table, we will find that the maximum product code here is 120. If we replace that number with a number that already exists, for example, 110, pressing enter, it will give me the correct number. If I change it back to any number is not listed at this table, for example, 150, it will give me back the same error hash NA, and as we said, it's referring to not available. Let's go for the next one. It's hash name. Hash name means that it's a wrong Excel function. Not necessarily it's totally wrong, but you might have a typo mistake while trying to insert this function. For example, we need to calculate the average of this number, we need to count these names, and we need to sum these numbers. If we tried here to type equal and then average, but before we open our bracket, if we try to by mistake type any other letter like double E, and then open our bracket, selecting our data, closing our bracket and pressing enter, we will have hash name. The same here if we would like to calculate the count of these names, and rather than type count A, we type count E and open our bracket, then selecting our data, closing the bracket, pressing enter, it's the same error. The same will be here for sum. If we tried sum and space, opened our bracket, selecting the range, closing the bracket, pressing enter, it will give you a notification here if you would like to accept the correction. If we press no here, we will have the same error hash name. So hash name here is the wrong Excel function, or it contains a typo mistake. Let's go for the third one. It's hash div. Hash div here means that you are trying, or your formula is trying to divide by 0. The result you will have from your formula is tried to be divided by 0. For example, if we tried here to calculate the average if this number's more than 100, so we will type equal average. If we will select the range we need to check in, and then comma, the criteria will be more than 100, so it will be double quote more than and 100, then comma. The average range will be the same range like that. We'll close our bracket and pressing enter. We will have div by 0, which means you are trying to divide the number by 0. Because what average means in mathematics, you are summing the total range and divided by the count of that range. So the count here is 0 because there is no any value more than 100. The same example here, if we try to divide 1 by 0, it will give the same error. And for sure the same here, if we divided 0 by 0, it will give the same error. So hash div means that you are trying to divide the value by 0, which is impossible. Let's go for the next one. It's hash null. Hash null means that there is a range typo mistake. What does it mean? If I try to sum these two numbers together, so I'll type equal sum and then select these two rows. If for any reason by mistake this sign was cleared and replaced by 0. If I close my bracket and press enter, I'll have null here. The same will go for average. For example, if I tried here to have average, these two numbers, and I'm pressing enter, I'll have the same error, which is hash null. And the same will be here if we try to use, for example, subtotal, and we use, for example, 1 for average, pressing comma. The reference here will be like that. We will clear that selection and replace this dot with space, closing our bracket, press enter, we will have the same error. So null here means that the range, there is a typo mistake in our range that we are using in our formula. The next one is num. Hash num means that the result of the function is not mathematically understandable. How is that? If we are trying to calculate the square root for this number, so simply we are typing equal sqrt and then select this number and close our bracket, pressing enter. It will be 4. The same will go for the next ones. There is no problem till now. But if we try to calculate the square root for any negative or any number with a minus sign, it will give me an error, which means that this calculation or this formula is not mathematically understandable for Excel. The next error we are going to check is hash ref or hash reference, means that the reference used in your formula is missed. How is that? If we tried here to calculate the average of these two cells and close our bracket, pressing enter, we will have 25, which is a correct number. But if suddenly and by mistake I cleared or I deleted these cells, and here I mean delete, not just clear the content in this cell. If I try to press from my keyboard, just control minus and then pressing OK, now I have reference because this formula was checking a reference or a group of frames that is currently not exists at my spreadsheet. The same we will see here if we try to use sum. These two cells, pressing enter, we will have 7, which is correct number. But in case by mistake I deleted these two cells at all, let's try control minus and then pressing enter, I'll have the reference, which means that the reference I was referring to in my formula or in my function is not existing anymore in my file. The next one is hash value. Hash value here means that your result is not understandable for Excel. What does it mean by not understandable by Excel? For example, if you try to sum up this number, which is 5, with that name, equal 5 plus this name, this is something not understandable for Excel. So if you press enter, you will have a value, which means that there is nothing means that you can add up or sum up a number with a name or with a letter. The same as the second example, if we try to use a minus 2, pressing enter, you will have the same error. And the same error you will have if you replace this letter, for example, with a space and press enter, you will have the same error because space is considered as text, not as number. So you will not be able to calculate anything or doing any mathematics for this function or by this formula. The last one here is multiple hashes, which mean that the number you are trying to view is too big to be displayed, or the date or the time in a negative value. Let's start with date and time. If you see this value here, it's subtracting the most recent date from the oldest date. So it will give you -5. But if you are doing the same and trying to format this cell as a date, it will give you an error because there is no any date can be viewed or displayed in negative value. The same will be here. I'm subtracting 1 a.m. minus 2 a.m. so there is no any time can be in minus. And regarding the number is too big, if we try to use power any number and have a bigger number, for example, we will type equal, let's choose any 4 numbers and then from our keyboard shift 6 to have this power sign, and then let's power it by 25, for example, and pressing enter. We will have this number. It's a very big number. To be able to display that inside the cell, we need to resize that column totally in order to be able to find what is the number value or what's the result of this equation. That's for sure a very big number or too big number to display in such a small cell. And as we now can see it, if we try to resize the cell back to be a small cell as we started, we will see it as hashes because it's too big number. That was a straightforward example about Excel errors and how to come over that and solve it. Finally, remember that the file used in this video is linked below in the description. You can download it and try it by yourself. If you found this helpful, give it a thumb up and don't forget to subscribe for more powerful Excel tutorials that save your time and boost your skills. And just drop me a comment to tell me what you need to see in the next video. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.